Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. Local sports report. I'm your host, Coach Tripp, along with my buddy, Coach Hobbs, Mark Hobley. Got a special guest, two-time state champion. That's right, 8 regional titles, 20 district titles. Coach Bryan. Paulie, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it's great to be here, Paul.
Man, it's always fun to have you on. Golly, we got so much to talk about in so little time. I just want some of our listeners that maybe haven't heard your story before. Talk about your youth growing up. Football was your first love. Talk about growing up where you went to high school.
Okay, well, my father was a pastor, so pastors they kind of get a. And so our family's originally from Kentucky. He took a church up in Ohio, and so I went to high school in Ohio at a school called DeVilbiss High School. So I went to high school there, played football there, and then went to Asbury University back in Kentucky. So they didn't have a football program at Kentucky. So I played some basketball there. Wasn't very good, but I played a little bit there. And then that was basically my foray into athletics. Yeah, I played football all my life.
How'd you get into track? Where'd you find your love of track and
Well,
field?
When I started teaching, I came from had done 2 years at Sid Nelson up there in Cantonment, and then when I first started, and then I slid over into I got hired by Mr. Rich over at Woodham High School, and he hired me over there with the caveat that I would coach, because I had done some spring coaching there for spring football, and he was like, "We want you to come do this full time." So I was up there as a behavior coach, intervention specialist, like a dean, and I was coaching football, varsity football for DBs, and they'd hired Jay Cormier at the same time. So Jay had just been hired from Milton, and Gary Holt had been I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Holt, but Gary Holt was a local athlete here from Tate that went to Southern Miss, and he was the track coach at Woodham, and he had just left. So he they asked Jay if he'd take over the boys program, and I had been familiar because Gary was a friend of mine, and so they said Jay asked me to come help him. And so we did the boys program because I was fairly familiar with the program that Gary had there, and we won a district championship that year. But I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to coach track. I just want to concentrate on football. So I coached football, and after another year went by, Mr. Rich called me back in and said, "Look, we're going to need you to take the girls program." I said, "Man, I do not want to coach girls. I'm not I don't want to. I don't know that much about track. I did a lot of speed development. I was helping the guys, when they were going to camps in their times with their 40s and that stuff. But I was like, I don't know that much about it. I can do 400-meter workouts and stuff like that, but I just don't know that much." And he was like, "Well, just do the girls program for a year till we find somebody." So I did it, and we had I'd inherited something that wasn't that great. So and we had a pretty successful year. We were district runner up that year. And then I said, "Okay, I'll do it one more year. I'll give you one more year. That's it." So I did it the second year, and we were district runner up to Milton again. And Milton was very good at the time. They were highly ranked in the state. And I was thinking, but by then I started looking around, and I was like, I can kind of control this, and I had started going to camps and learning about track and field, how to do things. I had, they had a good staff there at Woodham with Doug Kaiser was with the pole vaulting, and TJ Rollins was there doing hurdles and jumps, and it really wasn't that hard. And then I started learning on my own some other things. I started learning each event, and I started going, what, I can actually control this program. Football, you've got 10 coaches out there.
Right.
So, everybody's not
one position. Yeah, you can only control one position.
Right. And you're sometimes you're not all on the same page, and it can get kind of dysfunctional out there. And I thought, what, I I might think about just coaching track as much as
Yeah.
because I think we might be pretty successful. And then that next year, we got Shamika Johnson came in. She's from California as a ninth grader, Jambonita Marshall. And, we really took off. And then we started winning district championships. And within 2 years, we were state runner up. So, yeah, we had a fourth place finish, a third place, a state runner up, and then another second place, a third place finish. So, and then I was hooked. I was like, I'm all in.
Wow, coach. Yeah, you've had a couple runners up, a couple third places, 4 places, along with the 2 titles. Man,
Yes.
oh man, and you come close to winning a few more. You started in 1996, coach.
I wish, Paul, that I knew back then what I know now, but yeah, we were very fortunate. I had great people that were helping me back then. I mean, I really did, and that's really what gave me the springboard to become a better track coach.
Yeah, you had champions around you. That's exactly right. You had
Yes.
mentors, somebody to guide you and so forth. Yeah, April 2024, dozens gathered to honor you in your accomplishments. What did that mean to you? Was that a surprise? I'm sure it was a surprise to you, but what that day meant to you in getting back into coaching now, how did that decision come about?
Well, that it was a huge surprise, but it's not easy. It's not hard to surprise me because I got tunnel vision. So yeah, that was a good friend of mine from Nashville organized that, and he got my family to come up. For we're spread out like all over the country, and so they had everybody there, and then a lot of the girls that I'd coached through the years came. So it was really surprising to me because we were hosting I think it was a county championship over at Washington is when it
Right.
happened.
Yeah,
So yes, that was a complete surprise. And then that summer, I mean, right at the very end in May, a lot of the girls that were unable to come from different parts of the country, they organized another one that they had in the gym at Pine Forest and catered food in, and it was really a formal deal. It was super super nice, and I had probably 50 girls from over the last 25 28 years that came for that. That was
Holy
really
cow,
nice.
coach. Holy mackerel, man. The tears were streaming that day. Oh my gosh. One of your runners, Corey Arrington, once said that she could fill a book with words to describe you. I mean, have you ever thought about writing a book? Like I'm in the process of writing a book for my crazy roller coaster story. But have you ever thought about actually writing a book for
Well, not really. No, not really, Paul. I haven't. No.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just never thought that people would find it all that interesting. But we'll see. Maybe someday. Maybe
Oh my
someday. We'll
gosh.
see.
What's your first order of business at Tate?
Well, to kind of get back to the question you asked me prior about how I got to Tate, I was, this past year, I had promised, Coach Dix came in and he's been my assistant for the last 3-4 years. And, we were building that stadium trying to get, for the last 2 years prior to that, I'd been sitting in with the engineer and the architects working on that, that facility because they were letting me kind of have my way with that thing, and but I knew that I was retiring, and I knew Coach Dix would do a good job, and so what happened was I was like, I'm retiring because I knew physically there was no way that I could continue to teach and continue to coach. It was starting to really tear me down.
Yeah, too much of a grind, right?
Yeah. So the one thing that I noticed, I'd promised, that I'd be there for this year as a kind of transition as a volunteer. I promised those seniors I'd stay with them, because I was coaching the hurdlers and the jumpers and stuff and the 4x1. Like, I'm going to stay this year and then kind of help with the transition with Coach, and he got his, because a lot of my staff people were still there, and then he hired some more people. So it was really, and plus there was no way, there was so much work still left to do at that stadium, finishing it because we were not completely finished,
Right.
So all that equipment had to be put out, and there's no way a guy can do that and still be inside the building. So, to help Coach out, I was like, I'm going to do it. Well, come to find out, I ended up putting in close to 450 volunteer hours up there this past
Ooh.
year. And what the cool thing about it though, Paul, was I realized without having to teach, this really wasn't it wasn't a heavy lift. And plus
Right.
I enjoyed doing it.
Right.
And I wasn't thinking about coming back and coaching or anything, but as it got toward the end of the track season, there was a couple of opportunities that came up, and I got to thinking, I still got a little juice left, and my coach has got this thing on lock. I mean,
Coach, if you're not teaching, you do have enough energy to do it.
yes,
Absolutely.
I do, and I felt really comfortable. I felt comfortable with Coach has got that thing on lock over there right now. It's a great time for me to transition out of there, and I mean, they're going to have success there for a long time.
Right, Coach
And that
Dixie. We know
facility is
Coach
beautiful.
Dixie.
Oh,
Yeah.
have you been to it yet? Have you been to
I
see it?
haven't. But we know Coach Dixie. You know it's in good hands. Yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful facility. It's one of the best in Florida.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Good job, Paulie.
Yes.
Amazing, man. So proud of you for that. Everybody is. Yeah. And then going, all right, I got a question for you. It's a philosophical question, but I guess you answered it throughout this interview. What do you enjoy coaching more, the boys or the girls? You thought the girls are going to be the hardest, and they're the easiest. They're the best.
Oh, I really enjoy coaching the girls because, as a rule, they're super loyal for one thing, and once they buy in, they're in all the way. With boys, you've got baseball, football, basketball. Right. There's so many different things to keep them occupied throughout the year. Track is something that they can go to, and it will help them in their other sports, and they enjoy doing it. But I mean, it's they're doing it for somebody that just has a straight love of track and field and going, man, this is just what I want to do all the time. I tend to find that more of the girls are committed to that. I'll get a guy every once in a while. I had Anthony G this past year, hurdler. He was an all-state hurdler over there at Pine Forest that I was able to work with, and Ant was just strictly track and field. But that's kind of the exception and not the rule generally with boys. With girls, and we do get we get some girls that are basketball players and stuff like that. But I got kids that'll, if I'm willing to start conditioning, they'll come out with me any time. Doesn't matter what time of year it is, they'll come out.
Wow.
And for guys, you're not always able to get that with guys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You got that right. All right, position wise, you're a DB coach, man. That's awesome. I'm a DB coach myself. So positions are important, and you got to have great position coaches. But in track, what is the hurdlers and jumpers and 4x100? Are those your favorite events to coach?
Yeah, I love the triple. I love the triple. I love, I feel like I can coach every event except for pole vault. I don't know a thing about pole vault, nothing, zero. But everything else I've had to coach, and I've enjoyed coaching it. Shot, disc, but I really enjoy the sprints. I enjoy the long sprints. I prefer the technical events. The mid distance and the distance is one thing. There's a way to do it and be successful at it, but I prefer working technical events.
Speed endurance. Should football players, baseball players, basketball players, should they all run speed endurance drills in the off season?
I think they should. It's difficult for baseball players because they've got they're in a spring sport. But I think that track and field is one of the best events for a high school boy to become better at whatever sport he's dedicated to. If you're a basketball player, you're going to become a better jumper. If you're a football player, you're going to become a faster runner. Right. It's one of those things that's just and you may end up finding out you really love the sport. So
my dad loved track and field, man. I got to tell you. He was a sports nut. I know it's Father's Day, but We were talking about dads last night on the show. But happy Father's Day, and good luck at Tate, man. We're proud of you, Paulie.
Yes.
Yeah, keep it rolling, man. You got the juice.
Thank you.
We're gonna
I appreciate it, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks. See you soon,
right.
Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
He's back.
He is back again. He's
back.
Still got juice going. See?
Yes.
See, that's what happens. You got to free up a little time. You know, you don't have to teach full time. You don't have to grind.
Man.
Well, you can still you get away with that dog. Come here, crazy dog. He's going to unplug us one day, man. It's just going to go wacko. Thanks, Hobbs, for being here.
Sir.
All right, everybody have a great sports night. Thanks for watching Local Sports Report. If you like the show, be sure to share it. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Have a great sports night, everybody. So long.
Peace.
Oh, I better be ready.
Arbitrium Consulting for all your fencing, landscaping, pressure washing, tree trimming needs. Call 850-483-0350 for your free estimates. Serving Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, Perdido, Gulf Shores, Foley, and the entire Gulf Coast. Arbitrium Consulting is owner-operated, fully licensed and insured. Call today, 850-483-0350, the official landscaper of Coach's Corner.
Hey, Bama fans, this is Will Moore, president of the Pensacola Bama Club. You can find us at PensacolaBamaClub.com. We are your official alumni chapter in the Pensacola and surrounding areas. Membership is available to all alumni and all Bama fans, so come see us at one of our many events throughout the year. Our Bama football watch parties are the next best thing to being in Bryant-Denny Stadium. We even serve authentic stadium hot dogs. Membership, event, and contact information will be found on our website at PensacolaBamaClub.com. Roll Tide.
For 30 years, you have seen the orange Beck signs all over the Gulf Coast listing a property for sale or lease. Beck Partners is your trusted advisor in commercial real estate, property management, commercial and personal insurance. Senior Vice President David Valletto has been with Beck Partners since 1989. Take advantage of his wealth of knowledge by calling him today at 982-7352. 982-7352. Extensive experience in all aspects of leasing, sales, management, and site selection will make sure your expectations are exceeded.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on your home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Will Rentschler is your go-to agent in Pensacola, Florida for the service you deserve at the price that you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Will Rentschler has you covered. Call 850-433-4678 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Legal disclaimer, individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.